Next step is sewing in the gussets. I start with the front part. I take the side front, place it face up, take a gusset and place it face down onto the piece, matching the notches. It's the first, second and third notch. Starting with the middle notch, I pin it to the side front, then I match the notch to the dot on the part and pin it, and the same thing with the other notch. Keep in mind these are also bias. This is bias. Be very careful of what you pull and why you pull it. Okay, pin. And after this I stitch this side of the gusset to the side front. Repeat the same thing with the other front. I'd like to show you how I'm sewing in the gusset. Okay, so place your needle exactly in the dot you marked on the gusset. Carefully back stitch a couple times, then stitch. Now you're at the dot, one more little stitch, here we are exactly at the dot. Then lift the foot with the needle down, obviously. Reposition your work so the other side of the gusset lines up with your side front. Start stitching. Only check your work when your needle is down, so nothing moves anywhere while you're looking. Align and stitch. Here it's a bit off center, but here it is. So here's the dots aligned, and there are no creases or pleats on the right side. Now time to do the other side. Now place your back face down onto the front with the gusset in between, so the underarms areas will be facing each other. Then what you have to do is pin again the back to the gusset, exactly lining up the dots with the notches all the way onto the other side. Now the parts are pinned, and you will have to stitch. Well, this dot is a bit off center, but if it matched exactly, you would have to start exactly here where the seam ends on the front and continue from it onto the other edge, onto the other end to the dot. So let's do it. Alright, so we got close to it. I'm getting this out of the way and trying to get right in this end of it. Okay. Check the work. Make sure there are no little pleats and pinches and stuff like that. Looks good. What we'll do now is close the remainder of the sleeve seam, and that part will be almost finished. Right. Line up the edges carefully. Remember, it's on the bias. Handle it with caution. Getting up to the dot, you make sure you don't catch that little tail in there. So just fold it out a little bit, and sew right into it, like this. See? What we got now is sewn and gusset. Right. After this, we'll have to finish the raw edges on overlocker. The way I do it is take this little tail, fold it over, and then finish the edges as usual. This way you end up with a nice finished edge of the gusset angle as well. Now we're going to close the bottom part, the part below the gusset. So what you need to do is match your pocket openings, match notches. Fold out your little tail here. Fold your parts together. Oops. Then, starting with the end of the previous seam, to sew in the pocket we'll have to open the seam afterwards. So what I'll do is sew a smaller stitch up to tape edge, then I'll do basting stitch until the end of the tape edge, and then I sew it with a proper small stitch all the way to the bottom. This way it will be easier for me to open the seam later on, so I can install the pockets. So smaller until the edge, then I'll make it large. Sew the pocket shut in the meantime. It will also help to align everything. There's so many bias parts that shifting is really quite likely. I'll change it back to small one. Back stitch a bit and move on. Alright. Now, we have a side that's almost complete. What we'll have to do next is overlock the edges. And here was the final result looks like. The sleeves are joined, then the gusset, finished, overlocked edges together. Same with the bottom edge, and continued all the way to the bottom. On the front we have a pressed gusset, and the seam, the side seam.